Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, or indeed if this is your first foray into my weird and wonderful world, welcome along. My name is Andy, my atrocious YouTube name is The Uncommentator, and this is episode number 4, I think, of this Extreme Warfare Revenge series. Now you can see there we're currently on February 28th, 2025. I'm recording this a week later, on the 7th of March, but hopefully by the end of this video, we'll have roughly caught up with real time. Now this video potentially is going to be slightly different, in that normally when I come to recording, I already have planned what I'm going to do, what shows I'm going to book, who's going to win, what's going to happen on the shows, etc., etc. This is slightly different though, in fact, in that I've actually got two plans. I've got a plan if something happens, and a plan if something doesn't happen. And the something in question is getting an extra TV deal, because I'm going to try and get a second show. Now, if you've been watching this series from the beginning, you'll know that currently I've got one weekly show, After Dark, and that takes place on a Thursday in a graveyard slot. I'm going to try and get a second show, and the reason for that is sort of twofold. So, at the minute, our public image is not really going up, and I think part of the reason for that is because we're quite a risky promotion. I think if you're a risky promotion, your public image takes a bit of a battering. That, coupled with the fact of there's a background sort of metric on the state of the market. So if the market is strong, then your public image naturally goes up. If it's not, then it's more difficult it can either drop or just stay where it is, and it's more difficult to maintain that. So that's part of the reason why, excuse me, because the more shows I do, the more likely, as long as they're good, the more likely that the public image will go up. The second reason is because we keep losing money, basically. I mean, we're only 2 months in, but we're going to lose money for the second month. So, excuse me. So we're on course to, well, we're going to lose money, like I've just said. And part of the reason for that is when we that's not the reason. Part of the reason for that is, edit that out, is our sponsorship money here, as you can see. So if you have a look here, if we take Smart Mark Video, for example, excuse me, I will stop coughing eventually. I don't know when though, but hopefully will. Yeah, so you can see there, we get $150,000 per show. However, we only get that for the weekly TV show if we're in a primetime slot, which obviously we're not. We're in graveyard. So I don't know how it gets worked out, but we don't get $150,000 basically. And that's the same for all the sponsors. So I think we need an extra sponsorship, an extra TV deal, sorry, to try and obviously to get more sponsorship money. Because we really do, if we keep losing money and the public image keeps dropping, this game will end. You can lose your job in this game, and I think that's the only way it does end. Otherwise, it just keeps going on forever. Anyway, so I'm going to send out a promo tape, and then we're going to book the next show, and then we're going to hopefully book our first show on our new TV, on the back of our new TV deal. So I don't know if I've shown this before, but if I haven't, in the previous series or earlier in this series, to send out a promo tape, you go to this screen and you click send out promo tape. It's very complicated. And the network I'm going to send a tape to is Twitch. Now, I don't have a Twitch account, but I thought to stream on Twitch you just needed to have an account and log in. But according to this, you have to get permission. So we're going to try and get that TV deal. Now, just before I quickly move on, I'll just very quickly go through this. So, to send a promo tape out, I mean, to get a TV deal, obviously you have to send a promo tape out. Now, the chances of getting a TV deal are predicated on three things. You've got your production values, you've got your public image. Not your public image, ignore that. You've got your production values, you've got your risk factor, and you've got your audience. So if we take ESPN here for an example, if we wanted to get a primetime slot on ESPN, we need production values of at least 75%, we need risk no riskier than 65%, and we need the ability to draw an audience of 6. Now, we don't meet any of that criteria, basically, at the moment, so there's no point sending a tape to ESPN because we won't get on. However, there were two networks that I think I did have a chance of getting on, and they were Hulu, and then obviously the other one was Twitch. And I've gone for Twitch just because they have slightly lower audience, so I think we've got more chance of getting on. I'm wanting an early evening slot as opposed to prime time, because I don't think the roster's big enough to carry a primetime show. So we're going to find out on the 1st of March if we get a TV deal. Also, I should point out, you only get you only get to know about your TV deal on the 1st of the month. It's really, really frustrating. So if you send a promo, so if I sent a promo tape out on the 2nd of February, for example, as opposed to the 28th, I still wouldn't get to know if I'd got the deal any sooner than sending it out now. It would still be the 1st of March, which is slightly annoying. But nothing we can do about it. What we can do, though, is book our big February event. So because we're controlling our own narrative, our big events are on Friday as opposed to the weekend. So the upcoming event is going to be this Friday, and it is called Take Your Territory. Now, I don't know if I put that in place in the last video, but if I didn't, there it is. Now, before we book that, let's just have a quick recap. I will stop coughing eventually. Let's just have a quick recap of the previous episode of After Dark. So there's something outside the window at the minute, and it's distracting me. So apologies. I will focus on this. Yeah. So this was the go home episode of After Dark, finalising the build up to Take Your Territory. So we had a debut angle at the beginning. So Maki Ito made her debut, as did Takumi Iroha. It should be said. So Maki Ito came out. She sung incredibly badly. Takumi told her she sung badly, and then she attacked her as a result of that, so that's going to build up to their match. Then we had a video for Mina Shirakawa. So Mina Shirakawa has been kidnapped, and in this video, she just basically said, "See you tomorrow." That was all she said, so bit of a spoiler as to what's going to happen tomorrow. She's going to come back, potentially with her kidnappers, we shall see. Then there was a match between Killer Kross and Flip Gordon. Killer Kross beating Flip Gordon. That's to heat him up for his match with Chris Dickinson. An interview with Joe Hendry where he basically said, "I'm going to be at Take Your Territory wrestling somebody." And then the main event, Omos beat Big Damo with the help of Austin Aries. But then after the match, Adam Scherr, Braun Strowman, whatever to call him, returned. And he attacked Omos and Austin Aries and turned babyface as a result. So that's where we're up to. And now, after that overly long introduction, let's get on with booking Take Your Territory. I'm going to kick things off with the aforementioned duo that I just talked about of Austin Aries and Omos. So we're going to kick things off with a talkies segment, and it's going to be Austin Aries bigging up Omos for his main event match with an attack in title for Braun Strowman then, but it's Adam Scherr on here, so that's to hype the upcoming match. And then the event starts for real, and if you've been paying attention, you will know that the first match is going to be Joe Hendry taking on somebody, and it's going to be a Battle of Britain. So drum roll please for his opponent. That was terrible, but his opponent is going to be even worse. It's going to be Marty Scurll. So Marty Scurll, who appeared on the very first show, The Awakening, hasn't appeared since. I think I was trying to build up to maybe letting people think that he'd left, but he hasn't. He's back. And he's going to take on Joe Hendry. I know most of the time when WWE or an American promotion, whatever, promotes in the UK, they kind of make out that if it's in the UK, you're in your hometown, but for any American viewers, I'm here to tell you that Joe Hendry's from Scotland, and Marty Scurll, I don't know where Marty Scurll's from, but it's not Scotland. So they're not from the same place. I mean, they're both from the UK, I suppose, but they're not from the same smaller area than that. It's that. Put my teeth back in. It would be a bit like saying that, if you're from Brazil and you're from Argentina, you're both from the same place because they're both in South America. I mean, that's a bad example, but you get the idea. Anyway, that's not important. What is important, who's going to win this match? And it's going to be Marty Scurll. And he's going to win by cheating, just to try and eliminate the chances of any ironic cheers that he may get, although I suspect he wouldn't. And there's no real purpose to that, to be honest with you. So Marty Scurll wins the opening match. Then we're going to continue the hype for a debuting worker. So if you have been following this series up to this point, you will know that this gentleman is on his way. And it is not. It needs to be a debuting worker. And it's Gable Steveson. So Gable Steveson it's going to be, it's not quite going to be a Veer is coming to Raw video, because in that video package it would say Gable Steveson to debut on the next show, which hopefully will be on Twitch. I guess we'll find out. Obviously, if this were real, you'd know that in advance, and you'd say, hey, tune into Twitch, and it's called this and at this time, but we can't do that on here, sadly. Okay, next up is going to be the Joshi match that I've already talked about. So it's going to be Maki Ito taking on Takumi Iroha. And Maki is going to win that match, and once again, to try and avoid ironic cheers, she will cheat, so she's going to whack her with a microphone stand or a microphone or something, I don't know. And we'll say put a good match, why not? Don't know if that matters or not, but we'll go with it. Okay, now we're going to start the build to, finalise the build to our co-main event. Not that you can have a co-main event. I don't like it when promotions. I never understand why promotions promote co-main events or triple. I mean, was it Fully Loaded 2000? There was a triple main event apparently. Well, that can't be possible because if you have a triple main event, surely you have to have 3 matches going on at the same time. Because by design, the match that goes on last is the main event. I mean, is it just me? Don't know. Yeah, if we're gonna have a co-main event, we'd have to have 2 matches going on at the same time. Which, for control your narrative, you wouldn't rule it out. To be fair, but yeah, Dickinson tries to attack Cross, and the Goobers backstage hold him back. Right now, the next 2 segments are going to be kind of all one big segment rolled into one, and I'm going to try as concisely and as quickly as possible to explain what's going on, and I'm probably going to fail, but root for me. I'll do my best. So we're going to kick things off with an angle, and it's going to be a debut angle. And I want a stable. And I'm going to have to, there's only 4 options, I'm going to have to go with that one. Okay, so the stable is called The Blacklist, and their manager is not really the manager, but it's Mandy Rose. May have been a spoiler for that one earlier. So what would happen in this segment, after the backstage brawl between Dickinson and Cross, obviously cut back to the arena, Mina Shirakawa would walk out on stage, walk down the ramp. She'd be totally deadpan, no expression, eyes glazed over. She'd be like a zombie basically walking to the ring, and she'd be wearing a slightly skimpier attire than she's wore when she's been wrestling and before she was kidnapped. There's a point to it. There's a point to that. It's not just some kind of weird fantasy. Then, as she gets in the ring, the lights would go out, the lights would come back on, and she'd be accompanied by the Blacklist. Now, the Blacklist are made up of Mandy Rose, and the leader of the Blacklist is a gentleman that is probably better known as Velveteen Dream, but on here, he's called Patrick, well, it's his real name, it's Patrick Clark. So, they're in the ring, and then Patrick Clark, Velveteen Dream, gets the microphone, he starts cutting a promo about, he says something like, oh, well, you all thought it was Dream Over, obviously alluding to his NXT character. That I think was his catchphrase, wasn't it? Dream Over. So then he snapped his fingers, and I don't know. I didn't watch it all that close, so I'm not really sure. But anyway, he alludes to that, and he says, well, you know, I was accused of things that I've not done. Again, referring to picture messages or whatever it was. I've been accused of things I've not done. There's no evidence, and as a result of that, I've been kicked out of the wrestling industry. Well, I'm here to tell you that I've done nothing wrong. Blah 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 blah. And it's not just me. There's loads of us that have been unfairly treated. Take Mandy here. Oh, actually, I forgot to mention when Mandy's in the ring, she's wearing and again, this isn't a weird fantasy. She's wearing as little clothes as she can get away with. So. The smallest, skimpiest outfit that I could get away with presenting her in, that's what she'd be wearing. Because when Clark refers to Mandy, he talks about her losing her job because of, you know, he'll say something like, well, you know, she lost her job and all she was trying was a little side hustle. She was just trying to make a bit of extra money, selling content that all you perverts bought. Obviously, you know, referring to I don't know what the website's called, but you know, the adult content that she made for. There was subscription, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about. So he refers to that, and then, you know, bangs on about, we've done nothing wrong here, we're here to prove we're the good guys. I mean, and then obviously he brings Mina in and says, you know, look at Mina, we've convinced Mina we've convinced Mina that we're good. She's on our side now, and we're going to do that to the rest of you. And obviously Mina's like, because she's totally zombified, she's obviously been brainwashed. So he'd cut a promo basically saying they've done nothing wrong. He'd get out and start leaving the ring, and then as he's leaving the ring, we'd begin the next part of the segment, which would try and come across as a bit of a work shoot, bro. Because as he's leaving the ring, Ethan Page would come out and he'd storm to the ring, and he'd shoulder barge Patrick Clark as he walks past him. He'd get into the ring, he'd grab a chair, he'd put it in the ring, and then he'd start cutting a promo about. He'd say something like, "Hey," he wouldn't say "Hey," but he'd say something like, I'm Ethan Page and I'm not supposed to be here. I know you know who I am, but I won't be surprised if you didn't, because I haven't been booked. I haven't been booked in over a month. Yes, I do still work here. I know you wouldn't know it from watching the shows. Blah 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 blah. Bangs on about. So he talks about how he's been hard done to, and like I said, this is supposed to be a bit of a work shoot. Do you remember when it was a few years ago now? There was about a 3 or 4 month period where on AEW it seemed to be somebody different each week cutting a promo about how they don't get enough TV time, and I found it totally baffling. It was just basically because Ethan Page was one of them. That's what reminded me. There was Wardlow. He did one, I think. Scorpio Sky possibly did one. I think maybe Thunder Rose. Anyway, I never understood why they did that. I mean, it was just, you can get away with that maybe once a year or something, but yeah, it seems like every week for about 3 months. Anyway, that's not important. So yeah, so as I'm saying, Ethan Page just start cutting his promo, saying about why he's been kept off TV, blah 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 blah. Then he'd get out the ring, he'd go up to EC3, who's on commentary. He knocks EC3's headset off, who doesn't react. Again, trying to no-sell it, the fact, well, this is not part of the show. We just need to don't film this sort of thing. So he's not reacting to it to get more attention. And then Ethan Page even starts going off on Patrick Clark and says, "Oh, you're keeping me off TV, but you're happy to hire that." And he obviously, he says a word I'm not going to say, but it's alluded to his picture messaging. And you're bringing him in, and then you're hiring that whore, well, something like that, referring to Mandy Rose. Blah blah blah. Then eventually his microphone gets cut off, and then the backstage producer people and security drag him away, and EC3 just kind of puts his headset back on and doesn't talk about it. I don't know, I think it could work. That's it. And now next on to the co-main event that's not a co-main event. So the first part of that is going to be the Killer Cross and Chris Dickinson match. And Chris Dickinson is going to get a big win. No purpose. And then finally, the main event, the Clash of the Titans. Godzilla versus King Kong. Insert other cliche here. It's Omos taking on Adam Scherr in a rematch of their Saudi... I think it was Saudi Arabia, wasn't it, when they fought in real life. And it was infinitely better than anyone thought it was going to be. But, yeah. So a rematch of that. And I think, if I remember correctly, Braun Strowman won that match in Saudi Arabia. But he's not going to win this one. It's going to be Omos even in the score. And once again, to double down on this partnership, Austin Aries can run in. And then also leaves it open for a rubber match. No aftermath. And that is, we'll say, put on a good match. Put on a better match than you did in Saudi Arabia. That's your purpose. Right, so that is Take Your Territory. So hopefully this will impress the bosses at Twitch and they will give us a slot, preferably in the early evening, but to be honest with you, I'll take anything. So aiming for 60% quality, let's see how we get on. And we're kicking off with 89%, so that's a very good start. I can't see that maintaining, but it should bring up some of the other segments that may not quite be as good. Starting with this first match. But it still hit 60%, so that's pretty good. Marty Scurll wins the Battle of Britain. Yeah, that wasn't very good, but it was never going to be. Yep, that was pretty good. The problem the problem I'm going to have is a lot of my wrestlers are not very over, so the crowd reaction is always going to suffer because of that. But that was it. The match quality was good. It needs to be good to drag the crowd reaction over, but drag the overall rating up, to make up for the crowd reaction. But hey ho. Obviously, if the wrestlers can get over, like in this segment, that will help the crowd reaction. Perfect. Yep, Mandy Rose, David, a new gimmick got positive. Who knew that Mandy Rose stood in a wrestling ring not wearing a lot of clothes in front of a predominantly male audience would get over? Who knew that? Eh? I must be a genius thinking of that. Yeah, I gave a new gimmick to basically... She's basically playing the character of I make adult content away from wrestling. That's kind of her on-screen character. Again, to try and add to the realism. What I'm trying to avoid doing on this series, but I mean, I feel like I'm failing miserably. But what I'm trying to avoid doing is just hiring controversial people for the sake of it. Like, I think if you do it in a certain way, or you present them in a certain way, or put them in a certain story, I think it can work. But it needs to be quite nuanced. I mean, like, obviously there's a lot of talk at the minute about Tessa Blanchard. I'm not saying for one second that Tessa Blanchard should play an on-screen racist character, given that's what she's been accused of. But I think in certain instances, you can, if you do it right, you can tell a nuanced story. But yeah, like I said, I'm not intentionally signing controversial characters. Although, according to Eric Bischoff, controversy creates cash. So if it does, bring them all in. Let's just hire anybody because we need it. But yeah, that was just going off on a tangent there. That was a good segment. Yep, that was fine. Pretty good. That was a good match. That was really good. I wasn't expecting it to be that good, but yeah, good stuff. Maybe Triple H should hire Chris Dickinson in real life, because then might make Karrion Kross actually interesting. But just me, I don't know. There we go. That's better than Saudi Arabia. And almost getting 2 points more overness as well, so that should help the crowd rating, the crowd reaction even. Good. So that was it. That was a pretty good show, I thought. All the segments went over well, apart from maybe the hype video, but 67%, so closer to 70% than 60%, so way into the what we're aiming for. Right, so hopefully that will have impressed the bosses at Twitch. Hopefully they like seeing Mandy Rose not wearing a lot of clothes, which rhymes, and the fact that it rhymes helps us, I think. So let's see, are we on Twitch? Now, if I jump to the beginning of the inbox when we get back to the screen, here we go. So if we have a look at the mail now, it should be one of the first mails that we got. So we've got 40 emails. So if I go to the front of the inbox, we should know fairly early on if we got the TV deal. Let's have a look. Cheers, Jevin. That's why I pay the big bucks. So 308 people came to that. That's pretty good. And clearly the Twitch. I don't know, schedulers, whatever you want to call it. What are people called that decide if you're going to get a TV deal? I don't know. The Twitch bigwigs were part of those 307. What was it? 308. Because they've given us a TV slot. Thank the Lord. That is useful. Because we need it. We need the money. So hopefully it's an early evening slot. That's what I went for. I mean, you can't specify when you send a video out, but yeah. So 308 people. So we've been averaging the last video we got about 150 people to our weekly show. So twice as many people came to our big event. Clearly the promotion worked. Right. So now I know which plan I'll follow in for the rest of this video. I need to try and get on with this. I don't want this video to drag on too long. So let me just bring up my plan. There we go. Right. Okay. So I need to actually put this show on the road. Before I do that, let's have a quick flick through the other emails. So, let's go from the beginning. Why not? See what we've got. So we know about that. That's good. So Norm Connors has taken over C4. So that should be an explosive partnership. And JBW have announced their touring roster. PJ Black's gone to the NWA. So that is Justin Gabriel, PJ Black, I think it was. Zachary Wentz has gone to NWA. So one of the Rascals, I think. Excuse me. Thought I'd stop coughing, but no. Still lingering. Mystico's gone to NWA, of course. Sin Cara. Jim Molyneux with no pictures retired. I think he was the ECW referee? No, not Mike Tenay. Mike Tenay's gone, the Professor. Ed Hellier, I don't know who that is. Babe Richards retired from CMLL, looks like a referee. Sue Sexton. Hartzell Schaff, I've no idea who these people are. Paul White's retiring. Well, that is a shame. Definitely no more BS after that. Jim Duggan's retired. He's becoming an announcer. Maybe he can get Mike Tenay's job. Dragon Kid's retiring. Okay. Mohammed Yone. Pilit, that person. Snitsky's retired. Oh well. Quavo, not the rapper. Masak, yeah, he's retired. El Pantera's going to retire. Schlack's going to retire. Medusa's going to retire. Goodness me. Nobody left. N8 Masson, I'm assuming that's Nate, but I don't know. But he's retiring anyway. Tully Blanchard's retired. Matsuya Uno. Mike Reed is retiring. Butch will be disappointed. Masanobu Fuji's retired. They've retired. Right, okay. So interesting there. So a few sad departures. Obviously, Paul White. Dragon Kid can't be that old. Let's have a quick look at Dragon Kid. I know I need to get on with this, so I will be as quick as I can here. No, 47. He's older than I thought, but okay. Dragon Kid retiring from Dragon Gate, apparently. Yes, we know, but we're trying to do something about it. We're gonna cut some. We're gonna cut some costs and try and increase revenue. So we're doing two things about it. Brian Johnson's been underpaid. Killer Cross has been underpaid. Jervis Cottonbell's been underpaid. Fair enough. And EC3, despite being unsackable. See, there's something not quite right there because that happened earlier in the series. I got a video saying his contract was going to expire. When, if you actually look at his contract, there's no expiry on it. That's Ethan Page. If you look at his contract, there's no expiry on it. So I don't quite know where that's coming from. But yeah. Anyway, that's the roster for those of you that I've never really gone on this screen. I try and avoid this screen just because I want the debuts to be a surprise. But yeah, that's the roster at the minute. So a bit of a spoiler there. We've got Jake Atlas. We actually need to give a new contract to, but we'll do that in a second. Right. So yeah. So let's put the TV show in. I've already got a name for it. Right. Please be early evening. It is perfect. Good. And I think we're gonna go on. Yeah, we're gonna go on. I'll just check the TV schedule. So I'm gonna try and avoid. I'm trying to avoid the 2H stream. Yes, I probably am. I'm trying to avoid obviously clashing with other shows. So you can see that we've got AAA on a Saturday, Lucha Libre CMLL on a Sunday, nothing on Monday, Power on Tuesday, nothing on Wednesday, NXT UK on Thursday. I can't go on Thursday anyway. Can't have two shows on the same day. And then Friday is very, very a lot of competition on Friday. So we're gonna go on Monday because I don't want to show on Wednesday and Thursday. So we're gonna be the build up to Monday Night Raw. We're gonna be the appetizer, if you like. So view TV offer, yep. So Monday, yep. That's good. And the show is gonna be called Disruption. So not quite as layered as After Dark as for a name, but I think that's a good name. I'm not explaining the references there. I'm sure you can all work them out. So Disruption, it's going to be Adnan Verk again, and we'll keep EC3 on commentary for now. But I may change now I've got a second show. I may mix up the commentary a little bit. We'll see. But we'll sit with Adnan Verk and EC3 for now. Okay, now there's just a couple more bits and pieces and of admin I need to do, and then we can make a start. So I need to hire somebody. Right. So yeah, so part of the reason we're losing money, for example, and again I will try and be quick with this because I need to book this next show. So if you look at, so we'll take Killer Cross for example, $22,000, so every time he wrestles or appears on a weekly show, we're paying $22,000. So if he appears on 4 weekly shows and then the big monthly event, that's over $100,000 just for him. So we can't sustain that. So I'm gonna have to reduce that. And part of the way I can reduce that is by getting people on written contracts. So Jake Atlas, for example, at the minute, $4,000 an appearance. So again, could be earning $20,000 a month. However, we're going to buy from a written deal. We'll just leave it for a year. There we go. Perfect. So now he's on. So instead of paying him, if we use him 5 times, instead of paying him $20,000, we're only going to pay him 5. Now, unfortunately, we can't do that with most of the rosters. So for like Austin Aries, for example, $30,000 an appearance. I can't. If I go to offer him a written contract, he won't sign it. So this, I just need to be a little bit more careful by who I get on open contracts. But anyway, I'll worry about that at a later date. So we've signed Jay Carter. There's one more thing I need to do, and then we can crack straight on. I'll tidy up the inbox of the stuff after the video, and we'll do that away from the recording. And I'm going to hire somebody, and it's going to be Grizzly Redwood. Now, I'm not an expert in indie wrestling by any stretch of the imagination, but I believe Grizzly Redwood. We'll just give him a year. I don't think it really matters to us. I can't see me this series lasting longer than a year, but anyway. So I believe Grizzly Redwood is a bit of a comedy character. Okay, that's not going to work. Now, there's a way around that. So obviously, he's just said that he won't sign a written contract. So if we sign him on an open contract, and if we go to the roster, and go for written, he'll sign it. So a little bit of a workaround there, but we can get it sorted. Right. So I think Grizzly Redwood. I think he's a bit of a. He's not the tallest. I know that, and I think he's a bit of a indie comedy character. I think he's been in PWG, possibly Ring of Honor, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, yeah, he's coming now, so we've got him for a year. I'll sort the other contracts out after. Oh no, actually, I'll do this one as well. Brian Johnson, we'll give him I can. Okay, he's happy he's got a contract. So I'd have to fire. Yeah, okay, we'll not worry about that for now. Right. So I think. Now, the other things I need to do is I need to put in the March event, but I don't know when that's going to be yet, so I'll do that like I did with the February one and put it in on the day. But just know it's there. The event that doesn't exist yet, but exists in my head, it's going to be one of those. Oh, our public images up to 29. So it is going up, so that's encouraging. Right, now the problem is there's certain things you only do on the first of the month, and I think like adjusting the merchandising and stuff like that is part of that. I'm going to leave all this as it is at the minute, though, I think, because I don't want to. I need to just. I want to just do a month where we're at the minute, and then see how much money we make or lose at the end of the month, depending on, depending on what we do, how much money we get from these shows, and if I can reduce the worker costs. Because we lost $500,000 last month, and that was with a TV deal. We lost more money with the TV deal than without one. So maybe an extra show isn't the right way to go, but we'll see. We'll see. It's got to. The sponsorship money is way up. So if I can cut, it's the worker cost that did it. So if I can cut those significantly, which I'm going to do, then there's no reason why we can't make money with the extra revenue we'll get from sponsorship for the extra show. Right. Less talky, more booky. Let's get on with it. So our next show is on a Monday. So the debut episode of Disruption is going to take place in 3 days, isn't it? 2 days even, because we're on Saturday at the moment. I think there's something I need to do, but I can't think what it could be. Because like I said, there's certain things you can only do on the first of the month. So I don't want to move on and then not be able to do something. But just checking the. I don't think they've brought anybody new into the New Japan tour. I think it's just basically retained who they had and not retained some others. But they haven't actually brought anybody different in. So maybe I think Tom Lawler was already touring. Anywho, right. Let's move on then. So yeah, I'll put the event in when I've decided when it's going to be. Okay, so CMLL have signed Brian Gorey. AEW have signed Alberto El Patron, so that's one controversial character we can't sign. And Gringo Loco has gone to MCW. Still nobody's stolen Austin Aries off me, which I'm glad about. Right, so it's the debut episode of Disruption. Let's go. I've been quite fortunate, to be fair, with the TV deals, because every time I've sent a tape out, it's come back and we've got the TV deals. So that's good. That is positive. But yeah, if you play this game yourself, you don't always get it's not a guarantee to get the TV deal. Even if you send out based on the criteria I mentioned earlier to the right network, there's no guarantee of getting it. So you just need to be aware of that. Also, you may have noticed that the public image has dropped down, just naturally dropping down, as I said. So we need to try and arrest that slide, and hopefully Disruption will do just that. So let's get on with it. So we'll do a big pyro show at the start, say, hey, it's a new show, blah 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 blah. I'm going to kick things off with an interview, and it's going to be EC3, and he's going to talk about Ethan Page, and he's going to verbally attack him. So he's going to basically the show would start. EC3 would be stood in the ring, and then he'd say, this is welcome to a new era, welcome to Disruption, blah 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 blah. Introduce everybody, and then he'd just like bury Ethan Page and say he's not gonna, you won't see that egomaniac or something like that. I don't know. He basically like acknowledge Ethan Page and say you're not going to see him. So still a heel, because I like to think people would want to see Ethan Page. Right, and I'm going to kick things off with the promised debut of Gable Steveson. And I've already spoilt one debut that's coming up on this show, but hey ho, doesn't matter. So, kick things off with Gable Steveson, and he's going to be taking on Grizzly Redwood in his debut. So what would happen here is Steveson would come out. I wanted to establish him as a heel, so he's going to come out obviously with his gold medal or whatever and say, you should all feel honoured to see the first match of an Olympic gold medalist, the first match of the future greatest of all time. Bring me out an opponent that's going to give me, I want a test for my first match, blah, 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 blah. And he could say something like, oh yeah, I asked, because I'm a gold medalist, I asked EC3 if I could pick my own opponent, and he said, of course you can. So I've gone for someone who's going to give me a real test, a veteran. He bigs him up as like somebody amazing, and then Grizzly Redwood comes out. No offense to Grizzly Redwood, but he hypes him up to be that it's going to be somebody a bit more better, a bit more experienced, I should say, a bit more well known than Grizzly Redwood. But then Grizzly Redwood's music, he comes out, and then it cuts to Steveson, and he's laughing in the ring. But then the match starts, and Gable Steveson does win, but it would be a competitive match. It wouldn't be a squash. So he'd beat him up. It looked like it was going to be a squash. It was a bit like, this is a bad comparison, but a bit like Daniel Bryan, whatever you want to call him, and Brock Lesnar at some Survivor Series, where it looks like he's just going to murder him, and then actually the comeback starts, and the match is really good after that. In my mind, that's what would happen. But Gable Steveson in the end wins, and in the end, I'm going to make him cheat, but no, he can win cleanly. But he can cheap shot after a handshake. So Redwood can offer him a handshake, say, they hopefully they'll have a good match. Redwood offers a handshake, and then Steveson shakes his hand, and then have I got him as a babyface? I'll have to start that one again now. Where are we? No, I've not planned that very well. No, I've got him as a face. Oh, there we go. Supposed to be heel. Right. Edit that out. Right, we'll start that one again. Yeah, clearly I wasn't prepared. I do try and go to these recordings prepared, but clearly failed on that occasion. Right, so we'll quickly put the EC3 interview back in. So EC3 targets what's his face. Well, actually, I need to give. He needs a contract actually. Flipping Nora. This is why I do this without recording, because obviously. Oh, no, he's already got a written contract. Right, okay. Right, edit all that out. Yeah, right. So put the interview back in. I mean, put it in for the first time. So it's EC3, Ethan Page, EC3, ETP, and yeah, no attack. But actually, it's to welcome them to the show. Okay, let's try again. I could have sworn I'd made Stevenson a heel already, but yeah. Anywho, right. So Gable, yeah, he does everything I've just said. Oh no, wait, I haven't said it, have I? This is the first time I'm booking this. So Gable wins. And he wins cleanly. And he wins cleanly. This just needs to get on with it now. The mouse is now starting to not work. I don't know what's going on. And yeah, to debut Gable Stevenson. There we go. We got there in the end. Right. And I've just realised something that I've done in preparation. Oh, for Pete's sake. I'm gonna have to start again because I've made a mistake. It's live, pal. Right, bring him back in. There we go. Need more writers. Oh, God Almighty. Do we need more writers? You see, this is why I don't like to. This is why I like to plan ahead, because if I don't, these things happen. Right. So we'll let it. Okay, so we need more writers. Right, so let's do that. Let's get some more writers. I think we've got an extra show. We need 2 more writers. Let me go and get those. Oh, love of what is going on here. Apologies for this, people. But you have to. This is what you have to do when you're expanding. Right, so let's see who can we get. So 11. Let's see how much they want. I'll get the cheapest ones just because again. Oh, that was good. Just because I'm trying to save a bit of money. More chattering, no problems. Right, so we'll get Stephen Brill and Andrew Scott. Oh, I'm putting the years up. There we go. So Andrew Scott. Do we need any more writers? I'm sure she'll tell us. Yep. Stephen Brill. I'll come back to Viano 4 in a second because there is a point to that one. Right, do we have enough writers, Sophie? Yes, but we don't have enough road agents because the roster's too big. So to remedy that, we shall release a couple of people. One of which is going to be, or release Takumi Iroha, because she was brought in. Okay, she was brought in. Is that enough now? Nope. She was brought in to just for the Makito match. I need to release somebody else, and it's going to be Killer Cross, I'm afraid. You're welcome. There we go. So that's him gone. So that's saved a little bit of money. Right, there we go. Here we go. Right, disruption. Let's do this. All that. Ironically called disruption because all that just caused a disruption. Okay. Here we go. So interview. I don't know why I released Viano 4. That was me. That was me not reading my. That was me not reading my preparation properly. But hey ho, right. This video needs to be under an hour. Because if it's over an hour, instead of 3 people watching it, only 2 will. So we need to keep this video under an hour. So I need to really move along quickly here. So Gable Stevenson and Grizzly Redwood. You see, this is why, like I said, this is why I like to be prepared. Because if I forget to do things or it doesn't, I mean, I suppose I could edit all this out, but I'm too lazy. So all that stuff will stay in. Right, Gable Stevenson wins cleanly. And then cheap shots after a handshake. And that's to debut Gable Stevenson. Okay. Right, so the next segment is going to be as follows. So we're going to have an angle. Now I think if we're not hired more writers, we wouldn't be able to do these angles. I think you need 2 writers per show or something like that. So how many weekly shows you've got, you need that times 2 amount of writers, I think. Right, so we're gonna do a challenge, and it's gonna be a challenge between Shark Boy and Joe Hendry, and they're gonna challenge Marty Skirl and Viano Force. So if you're watching the series, you'll know that Shark Boy's sort of gimmick, he's appointed himself locker room purifier, if you like. So anyone that comes into the company that's a bit dodgy, he's gonna try and get rid of them. He's gonna fish them out, should we say? So he's good luck with the blacklist, buddy. But yeah, so he's already had a match with Marty Skirl, which he lost. Joe Hendry wants a rematch with Marty Skirl, and then randomly, in the last video, one of the episodes of After Dark, Shark Boy faced Viano 4. So that's why it's Viano 4, and I forgot I'd booked that. So that's why I released him in between recording, and then when I got to that segment, realised, oh yeah, I should have done that. And I suppose, to be fair, I could have just used Killer Cross or somebody else, but I didn't want to. I wanted to keep it consistent. So yeah, so that is that segment. That's what happened with Viano 4. So apologies for that. Next up, we've got another match, the second of the 3 matches we've got to have, and it is going to be between Chris Dickinson and Brian Johnson, so not the AC/DC singer. So when Chris Dickinson comes out, he cut a promo before the match saying that you're never going to see Killer Cross again, which is probably true, to be honest with you. So Killer Cross, just basically confirming Killer Cross has left to control your narrative because he can't deal with Chris Dickinson, and neither can Brian Johnson. So this would probably be a bit of a squash, to be honest with you. No purpose there, just a bit of a follow-up. That'd be more about the promo before the match than the actual match. But hey ho. And then next up, we've got a video package, because you may have noticed, I like a video package. And we'll pick Diva, why not? So it's going to be Maki Ito. So hype video for Maki Ito. It's just basically going to be a recap of an atrocious concert. Or just maybe a video of her singing, I don't know. And then the tag team match player that we booked. So that is going to be a 2-on-2 match. And it's going to be Joe Hendry and Shark Boy, which could be an interesting team. And they're going to be taking on Viano 4 and Marty Skirl. So we're already spending a bit too much on workers, but we're going to reduce it after this show. Let's just get this show out of the way. And then I've only planned up to this show. So I've not planned anything beyond. So when I do that, I'll focus on cutting costs. Which, I mean, to be fair, that's not. I'm sure you all watch this for the wrestling side. You don't care about the admin stuff, but if you're interested in a bit of behind the scenes, this is some of the stuff you have to do for this game. And Shark Boy is going to pin Marty Skirl. So Marty Skirl is going to get pinned. And he's going to get pinned cleanly. But then after the match, there's going to be another debut. And it's going to be Jake Atlas. So Jake Atlas, to be fair, I didn't actually realise. And he's just going to attack Shark Boy. I didn't actually realise that when I hired Jake Atlas, I didn't realise he had a bit of a dodgy past as well. I brought him in for a specific reason, which I'll explain when we get to the match. But yeah, I didn't realise he had a dodgy past. That was something that I was totally unaware of. So yeah, but we're not just hiring controversial people for the sake of it. Although, if controversy does create cash, as I said earlier, then maybe that's what we need to do. And that is to debut Jake Atlas. Viano 4 has already debuted, despite what that says. Right, and then we've got the last 2 segments. So the first one is going to be another interview. So once again, making sure everybody is aware that Omos and Austin Aries are a thing. And they're going to criticise Adam Scherr. And they'll just say something like, you know, we proved who the dominant giant is. We're not dealing with you anymore. We're going to move on to better things. Blah, 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 blah. Talking about the fact that they've beaten him already. Right, and then the main event segment. And that is going to be a stable angle. And so it's going to be stable assault singles in ring. So the Blacklist are going to beat up EC3. So even though EC3 is a heel and the Blacklist are heels, that's just to establish that the Blacklist are not. So what Ethan Page said about to EC3 about why you're bringing these guys in, you know, why you're hiring, that this is just to kind of affirm. This is to then sort of go against that and say, well, he may have hired us, but we're not working for him. We're not, you know. So EC3 would be in the ring. So what would happen is that EC3 would be in the ring. He'd say, "Oh, did you all enjoy?" He'd be kind of playing babyface, even though he's not. Saying, "Oh, did you all? Oh, hope you all enjoyed Disruption. We're going to be back here every week now." Blah 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 blah. Then the lights would go out. The lights would come back on. Blacklist would be in the ring. Clark had cut a promo on EC3 saying, "Let's be clear. You know, you may have brought us in, but we don't work for you. We don't work for you." Blah 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 blah. And then eventually as EC3 goes to leave, maybe like, I don't know, Mandy Rose kicks him in the balls or something, and then Patrick Clark beats him up, and Mandy and Mina just maybe like stomp on him or something. So yeah, again, just to establish that they're not working for EC3 basically. They're their own sort of, that's the word I'm looking for. They beat to their own drum. I don't know. You get what I mean. Anyway, let's get on with it because we're going to get this done in less than an hour. Yeah, that's fine. Again, aiming for 60% if we can get it. I was hoping for a slightly better match there, but we'll take it. Fair enough. Oh, there we go. That was a good segment. Shark Boy and Joe Hendry. That could be an interesting one. There could be some funny stuff going on there, I think. Cool, that was a good match. Chris Dickinson is proving to be really, really good. Which, given his stats are quite good, I'm not that surprised about. That's why I hired him. Good, that was the point of that. Let's get Maki Ito over. Right, so Marty Skrull and Viano fall lost, but the other two... Right, okay, so Jay Cutlass... Yeah, so the deal with Jay Cutlass is going to be... I've given him the gimmick of... I mean, he is a homosexual, so I've given him a gimmick of gay, but not in like a... To basically play a gay character, even though he's just going to be... He is really gay, obviously, but yeah. So what we but he won't be like a. It's not gonna be like a Lenny and Lodi type thing. It's gonna be an actual, like. He's basically gonna. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but again, I think this could be quite. If this is done well, this could be quite good. If this were real, which obviously it's not. But like, he's gonna basically sort of play that as in like a. He's gonna basically play the card as if say like, oh, you don't like me because I'm gay. When actually, it's nothing to do with that. It's just the fact he's a dickwad, basically. But he's going to accuse people of not liking him because he's gay. So that's why he's attacked Shark Boy. Because Shark Boy's saying, well, I'm a locker room purifier, get rid of it. And then Jay Cutlass has taken that as a slight on him, saying, well, I bet people like me are not welcome in the locker room. When actually, it's nothing to do with him being gay. It's because he... But he keeps thinking people don't like him because of that, when actually it's just because he acts like a dick, basically. So that's going to be the gimmick going forward. So that was the point of that. I'm just worried now. I just hope I can release Viano 4 without having to fire him. But let's not worry too much about that. Yeah, that was a good segment. And that was a good segment. There we go. So 70%. So not only last show we were nearly at 70%. This time we're at it. So that's good. That should definitely help the public image. Right, Tuesday the 4th of May, so we're not quite caught up to real time, but it doesn't matter. 149 people came to watch Disruption. I was hoping for a slightly higher rating. But cheers, Jerry, that's why I pay the big bucks. What did the network think of that? Brilliant. So the starting off strongly there with the network. That is slightly worrying, actually, because if we don't get good ratings, we will get cancelled. But let's not worry about that for now. So we made $93,000 there. But you look at the worker cost. But obviously that was they will be greatly reduced when I stop using people like Marty Skrull and that. Right. So that is an interesting start. We'll see how we get on. But for now, that is the end of this particular installment of this series. Bit of a long video, so I do apologise for that, partly me rattling on and forgetting to do things. So hopefully going forward it'll be a little bit slicker and a little bit better, and hopefully we won't lose that TV deal. But I guess that's all to come in a future video. But for now, if you enjoyed this video, then please like and share the video. You can also leave a comment on the video, should you choose to do that. While you're here on YouTube, if you head on over to the channel, The Uncommentator, you will find the rest of the videos in this playlist. I can assure you they're all a lot shorter than this one. You'll also find a myriad of other games that I've played through. If you like this series and you want to watch more of it, but want to watch a different promotion, I don't know what I'm talking about, then you can check out my other EWR series where I booked a year's worth of shows for PWG. If you like wrestling, there is also a playthrough of WWE Crush Hour. If you don't like wrestling, then I don't quite know how you made it this far, but if that is the case, there is lots of other content for you to enjoy that is not wrestling related. But join me next time. My voice is going, so we just need to get on with it. Join me next time. We're moving on to carrying on with March, moving on to book more episodes of Disruption. And after that, we're talking at that point. For now, from me, it is sayonara.